Okay, seems like we've done this song and dance too many times over the last couple of years. Atlanta Falcons again uh, ending the season in a horrible note, losing to the arch rivals New Orleans Saints 30-10, and the game really wasn't even that close. Uh, Keeping it real, uh, I don't know. I don't even know where you go with the rest of this. Um, this is one of those years that I know a lot of people are gonna try to take some good out of it, which you should in a certain way. 4 wins to 7 wins is a step in the right direction, but the level of play this year was just horrific, y'all. I looking at that game today, it was somehow I thought that there would be some type of uh, passion about playing your arch rivals, a chance to knock them out, a chance to step up and do what they need to do. Uh, and I'm sorry, it just leaves you empty at the end of the day. Another loss, especially to the Saints, had an opportunity to sweep them for the first time since 2016, was not able to do it. Uh, I don't know. I guess we'll talk about what went on in the game, which is just always kind of interesting. What's going on, Jimmy? Jimmy says, "I'm not mad. We're picking eighth and hopefully draft, which should help us on defense." Yeah, I know the draft. Yeah, I don't want to uh, dwell so much on this draft thing. We got a whole 6 months to talk about that, or 4 months, or five, whatever it is, to talk about the draft. The draft is a long way away. I'm talking about how this team played today, which is again just embarrassing. I had a couple of folks texting me during the game, just ridiculous, man. Just did not show up at all. What's going on, Twan? Twan says, what's the name of that instrumental you play? I play that. I love it. It puts me in a good mood every time. That's actually from my one of the musicians at our church, Blake Pace, family of the famous Pace sisters. He's in that family, very talented young musician, and he put that together for me. I want to say 2 years ago, so I could play it every time. Young brother is good, and he put that on me. I can put you in touch with him if you ever want to talk to him about something like that. He also says, "Hey, at least the Aints at home too. I hate them." Listen, there was a lot of joy in knowing that the Saints won't be able to join the playoff. Don't get me wrong. One thing I love more than the Falcons winning is the Saints losing. Saints lost an opportunity to go to the playoffs. So for me, I'm very happy that they didn't get in the playoffs. I just like to be the one who would have been able to put them out. And I know a lot of people look at it different and say, "Hey, well, neither one of us are there," but it would have been nice if we would have been able to put them out of their misery. Harvey says, "No heart." Yeah, Heart is, again, I always get a little interesting when I say heart, because heart means I see you not trying. I think some of these guys try, but they just don't have the talent. I'll say no talent in a lot of positions, but heart means you're giving up. Heart means you're not trying. I don't see these guys not trying. I just see an inability to make plays and an inability to stop plays. And that's different than no heart to me. But I understand where you're coming from. Either way, a loss makes you feel empty inside, no matter how. John says, not mad at new coach coming in and working with the B team and going 7-9. I'm sure you mean 7-10. Remember, we got this 17th game this year. Yes, they are. Look, we're gonna have probably tomorrow. I might do a summary of the year as far as some grades, breaking down coaching, different sets on the team, offensive, not so much a player evaluation yet, but as far as certain aspects of the team and how they did this year. Yeah, look, Arthur Smith was given garbage. Terry Fontenot was given garbage. And when you're given garbage, you and somebody tells you turn that into a winner, it's hard. It's hard, and it's probably going to take more than 1 year and another draft, and hopefully somebody who knows how to pick up some players. Right now, we don't have the talent to hold on. We don't have the talent to compete with the mediocre teams in the league right now. And I didn't say that wrong. We don't have the talent to compete with the mediocre teams. A win is a win is a win. I'm not going to take away from 7 wins. You won 7 games. A lot of teams didn't. 8 other teams didn't. So, you know, but at the same time, you got to be able to compete. I don't want to hear the stuff about the one possession games. I don't want to hear any of that stuff. Philadelphia is in the playoffs. Is Philadelphia markedly better than us? The team that just let Dallas score 52 on them last night? I'm not sure. I don't think so. Are the Raiders and Chargers that much more than us? Well, let me take that back. Chargers are actually pretty loaded. But that's the part that I want to change about the narrative about this team. We need to have some soul searching this offseason about this team. And yes, before anybody brings it up, I heard the news about Chris Mortensen reporting that Arthur Smith told them that Matt Ryan is part of his plans. And I say to myself, on January 9th, him saying that's a whole different conversation. We got to go through a couple of weeks of talks, couple of weeks of refiguring out what we're going to do. I don't take that for anything either. The guy that I saw out there, the guy that's putting up the empty stats at the end of the game, 20 for 33, 216 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I don't want to hear it. And yes, he got sacked 3 times today. So before all the offensive line apologists come in here, I'm not saying he didn't. But some of those plays, I saw him throw one really good pass to Russell Gage in the middle, and before the end of the half. Other than that, I'm sorry, y'all. I'll get into the grading of Matt Ryan later on, and I'm not going to make this the Matt Ryan show where we're just talking about him. But at the same time, folks, we got a lot of problems. And for somebody to come out and say, going into next year, that's my guy. Nah. Sorry. Jimmy says, here's the thing today. When Matt ran the sugar huddle, we moved the ball. Our coach calling plays messed up the chemistry. Maybe so, but we got a long way to go, Jimmy. The sugar huddle, you can't do that the whole game. You can't sustain that the whole game. You can't. You can do that and plan it for a couple of times. You can come out. That could be part of your scripted plays at the beginning of the game. but you can't run a sugar huddle the whole time. This is not back in the 1990s when the fun run and shoot when they were doing that and running up to the line and play every 10 seconds. You can't do that. Not these guys, not today. You'll wear out your team. You'll wear your team out in the end, especially a team that's not that talented. What's going on, Tim? How you doing, sir? Said, I really don't understand why Patterson wasn't being used much. Their play calling is like elementary. This is crazy. I was wondering the same thing, Tim, when I saw him on the sidelines early on when we were doing a little bit of moving, and I saw him on the sideline. I was kind of trying to look at his face and judge, was it some injury or something? But it didn't seem like it because he came right back in the game. Unless there's an undisclosed injury I didn't know about, I have no idea why he wasn't in there. What's going on, D? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you in the house on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Thank you for joining us in here to talk about this horrible loss we had today to our arch rivals, New Orleans Saints, 30-20. Kenzel, what's going on? How you doing, brother? It said, what's up, Steve? Let me get this. Last game in 2022. I'm sad and happy at the same time, ready for a new season, new direction. I am too. I hope so. I hope we're going in another direction. I hope so. I guess in some ways you could say we're going in a different direction, 4-12 to 7-10, and maybe next year it'll be 10-7. I don't know, but we need to do better than we did in this season. Tim also says if they are still in the win now mode, let's see, win now mindset, better resign Patterson. He wants to be here and he is aggressive, definitely needed, but Matt's return, not too sure. That's a win now. And that's why, Tim, when I heard the news today that they broke the news about he's in the plans for 2022, I said, boy, y'all better be careful about making plans for some. There's nothing that I would look at with Matt Ryan to say it's a 100% aside of the money situation. The money situation, folks, that's gonna trump everything. We might have to end up sticking with him because of that. I have already kind of gotten my mind to the point that might just be the case. And I understand that. I'm not trying to ignore the issues and say that we may have to keep him in order to get him off the books in 2023. I get that. But if you're sitting here telling me, like some of our fans has been telling me this week about extending Matt and pushing that money down the road some more, I'm trying to see, what did y'all see today? What did y'all see last week? What have we seen in the last couple of weeks? Aside of look, say one thing about Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan gets up after every play. Dude is tough as nails. And when I say tough as nails, it's talking about injury, as far as injuries. That's the biggest plus I can give him. He gets up after the play. Other than that, folks, there's not a lot of redeeming qualities about our quarterback. And he's going to be 1 year older next year and probably 1 year slower and probably arm 1 year weaker. I'm sorry. I'm not going to, I said I wasn't going to make this the Matt Ryan show, but it's happening, y'all. It's happening. Try not to do it. Benjamin says it's a sad. How you doing, Benjamin? Says it's a sad state of affairs when you are hoping Lil Shanahan and the 49ers can prevent the Aints from securing a playoff spot when we had the opportunity to do it ourselves. Tough year across the board, but better days ahead with the new coach and GM. Rise up to you, my friend. And Benjamin, you're absolutely right. I think it would have felt so much better for us to put him, to see Sean Payton's little pompous behind on the sideline, and just to be able to stick it to him on the last game of the season, knowing we had more of a, we were the reason why you're not going to the postseason instead of, to your point, waiting to see what the 49ers result was. Yeah, I was in the same boat, man. I wish that would have happened. I wish we would have had an opportunity to do that. And not only that, Taysom Hill getting hurt and Is it just me, or did it seem like Simeon came in and played better? Simeon was one of the reasons why we won the last game. And the same guy comes in and he kills us this game. You know, just crazy. Q, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Say Saints didn't make the playoffs. Absolutely. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm still gonna troll my Saints fans because we were split this year. Everybody always put their money on the Saints. Everybody always talking about how great they are and how Drew Brees is left and they're still the same. No, they're done. Let them out of there. Arlen, what's going on, sir? Said we got the 8th pick, and hey, good. I mean, I don't know. Do something with it. That's what I want to see as far as the 8th pick. Arthur Smith kind of walked back the article of Matt being the quarterback in the post press conference. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad he did, and I appreciate that update, Arlen. Because yeah, I don't know. And listen, when you're a reporter, you want to be the ones to get those little nuggets out that you can be able to say, I was first to say that. So I understand that. But there's no way that you're going to tell me after the performance last week up in Orchard Park and then the performance this week down there in Mercedes-Benz today that you come out strongly and say Matt Ryan is in our plan. So I'm kind of glad that there was a little bit of hold up there. You know, maybe that might have been a Chris Mortensen jumping the gun. Hopefully that's what's going on. So, Brother Sean, how you doing, brother? Say, I knew we were split with the Aints. Man, I wanted, you have no idea, bro, and I know you do, but you don't know how much I wanted this split. I mean, not the split, this sweep. Because sometimes, yeah, if we were at 8 and 9, that's not great. But at the same time, just to be able to stick it to the pompous front running, Cameron Jordan, just the look on his face irritates me every time I see him. And he just kills us every time, too. But I'm glad they went to the locker room and weren't able to pull out the champagne. Good for them. D says, we need talent on both sides of the ball. So which side of the ball you think we should work with first in the draft? Honestly, D, I know a lot of people are going to say offensive line. We got to get somebody to rush the quarterback. We're letting subpar, average, low-end quarterbacks eat us alive because we put no pressure on the quarterback. Zero. We don't have a good enough secondary for us not to have pressure. But listen, I like AJ. I think AJ is going to be nice. And, you know, they were giving him his props during the game. He made a nice play in the end zone. AJ also played off too much on a couple of those plays. It's 3rd and 4, and you're 10 yards off the wide receiver. Like, dude, what's going on with that? But you got to pressure the quarterback. Boy, if there was a way we could jump up there and get Hutchinson out of Michigan or the young guy out of Oregon or something like that, I would love to go out there because those guys are going to be game changers. I'm not saying TJ Watt, maybe, who knows, but I think those guys are going to be game changers by far. But that's where I would go. I would go to a pass rusher. What's up, Dre? How you doing, sir? Good to see you in the house. Toya, how you doing, ma'am? Said Allison makes a nice run for a touchdown. Arthur puts Davis back in to run and fumble. Number 2, just run Allison and give him a chance. Toya, you have no idea. I watched this game with my son down here, and my son is almost like listening to myself play the game. And I know coming into the year was a feel-good story. Mike Davis comes back home to reinvigorate the running game that we didn't have last year with Todd Gurley and all of this stuff. And that game today by Mike Davis encapsulated his whole season, which is why you can't bring him back this year. And I appreciate the sentiment of what they thought. But when you run 6 carries, 30 yards, and you fumble the ball twice, listen, I saw the couple of little plays he made that helped us move down a little bit, but you can't fumble the ball, bro. And remember, The Saints game, the first one we won, he almost fumbled that away. Remember that, Toya? He almost fumbled that. People forgot about that, I'm sure. They tried to run it instead of going down to a knee. They gave the ball to him, and he almost fumbled that. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, man. Let's even go down here. Twan says, I think Smith trying to play a little game, meaning if a team does want Matt, he's trying to see how bad they really want him. I doubt if we trade him. No, listen, I think the mantra of the Falcons, without knowing anything and without seeing anything from them, I think the mantra is going to be, look, we're kind of stuck with this guy financially unless somebody's going to make us an offer we can't refuse. And I think that's how we have to go into it, fans. ABG, I'm telling y'all, get your mindset, get your mind right, because we might just get a replay of the same quarterback this year. So I'm trying to be fair to Matt. I know a lot of things weren't his fault completely, but some of that stuff I saw today was a microcosm of his whole season. And isn't that ironic? I don't think he got his 4,000 yards this year. So we can stop with that. If I hear another person, man, he has 10 years straight of 4,000 yards. So I don't think we got to do that. And he had an extra name to do it, too. So, Keith, what's going on, man? How you doing? Said, man, I don't know. We're going to need a running back. And dare I say another offensive lineman. We need a lot. We need quite a bit, Keith. We're going into this offseason in the need category. We need a lot. Need a lot of help. And I don't know where to start. I know some play. This number 8 pick, man, it's going to be something to see what they do. Somebody going to jump up and make them an offer, and we can get more picks. I know we got a long time to talk about it, and we will. But today at 8:12 on January 9th, I have no idea. I don't know whether we're going to keep that number 8 pick or not, or move it down. But we got a lot of stuff to address, as you said. Alexander says, just tired of investing. He didn't say tired. He said, I'm tired of investing in a team for the same turnout. Season ticket holder. I'd rather watch at home. Well, I'm a season ticket holder, and you see why I am today, unfortunately. Not totally because I just didn't want to go, but it had some other circumstances. But yeah, it's frustrating, man. Trust me. Every year you invest in this team and you're expecting more and you don't get it, you get frustrated. I'm at the point where I get frustrated. Twan says, but anyway, to look at the majority of the games this year, I'm sure that we can all agree our lines are soft, and to get out on skates all game, we have to upgrade the talent on the lines. There's no doubt in my mind that we either need a new philosophy on the line, or we need some new talent. I think with offensive lines, you have to also remember offensive and defensive line. We have some young guys, and I'm not saying you wait forever for them to develop, but you do have to build some type of, continuity with those guys. I think we're all just waiting year after year for that to happen. I still like Lindstrom. I think Lindstrom is nice. Jake Matthews doesn't bother me. I know he bothers a lot of people. Probably his contract bothers a lot of folks and stuff. McGarry can be, they spotlighted him today for a couple of good blocks, but we've seen 17 games of him, and we can tell you there's more bad than good there. And then the center position, to figure out, are we going to play the Dahlman? I'm trying to think of the other guy's name at center. Are we going to play that switch up game all year? We shouldn't, but Dre says, Steve, I'm saying this. There needs to be a shakeup on the coaching staff. Hope Dean Pease is gone. I don't disagree with Dean Pease. I know a lot of people have down Dean Pease. You know what I like about Dean Pease? Dean Pease did it again this week. Dean Pease tells the truth. Dean Pease doesn't have the talent. And he's basically telling you he doesn't have the talent. This week, he said, until we get a pass rush, we're going to suffer in the secondary because we need to get somebody back there to move the quarterback. Go back and listen to the press conferences. And it's not like he's pumping these guys up, talking about, oh, these guys are ready for bear or whatever. No, he's saying, no, the talent I have on this team is not it. Or right now in their youth, they're not it. I don't think it's a total Dean Pease breakdown. I do think there are some schematic things on defense that I don't like when I see wide receivers running 20 yards free on every 3rd down and 5. But at the same time, I think we gotta. I don't know. I'm not ready to throw in the towel on Dean Pease yet. Sean says, "Yeah, I don't like his look either." Yeah, I know. Oh man. Toya says, as much trash as we talked in New Orleans, I hate it for Falcon fans at the game today. I know Saints were talking cash and money, and you know they were. They know that my phone is already blowing up. I got old school folks that have been bothering me all day, Toya, and they gonna probably ride it. They can't talk as deep as they do because they took that L earlier this year. I think a sweep would have been a little bit more permission to rub it in a little more. But yeah, win is a win. I would just love to be able to slap that back in their face a couple of times. Dre says, do you think our running backs coach sold on the running game since he's going to Virginia as OC? He must not be. and it's so funny. I think there was a story earlier talking about Ollison. It would have been nice to see some more of him this year. Seeing the couple of little glimpses we got of him, he didn't look that bad. And you can't take 1 or 2 plays and extrapolate it out the whole year. But he looked pretty good when I saw him. To me, I don't know. Tim says, do you think we are resigning Patterson? His cleats today says, why not retire in Atlanta? You know what I think, Tim? I think Tim Cordero is doing an absolutely fantastic job of putting pressure on the Atlanta Falcons organization to resign him. I think the bottom line is, of course you're going to say you want to stay in Atlanta. You scored 10 touchdowns this year. Of course you're going to say that. You're going to play the straight and narrow, and I love Atlanta. I saw a little T-shirt about him. Of course he's going to say that because he wants to get paid. But I guarantee you this, if he's a human and he's an over 30-year-old running back / whatever we call him, wide receiver, gadget play guy, returner, whatever, he's a free agent. And whatever the best offer is, that's where he's going to go. So you're asking, do I think we can? I'm not sure if we can. I'm not sure. Just like we found him, we might be able to find somebody else. Just like who was the guy I was just looking at today? McKissick playing today. Just like Washington found Gibson as a running back last year. And now he's running for 1,000 yards this year with them. I mean, you can find them. That's what the scouting team is for. That's what your GM, that's his job. Terry Fontenot's job is to say, if we can't afford to pay Cordero, who I'm sure is not going to take less than $7 to $8 million, because his worth just went off the chain after this year. You gotta find those players somewhere else. You gotta find the right free agent that'll fit the right stuff Arthur Smith is trying to do, and you plug them in. Nobody in this, I did not hear one soul talk about Cordero Patterson this offseason. And if you did, you better go back to the post and show me. Nobody. So they found the right person and it hit. So who's to say we can't find another person? So answer me this question on January 9th, Tim. I'm probably saying unless he gives us a deal that's where he might be making $5 million. $5 million would be the tops I would go for him with the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. Twan says Davis almost cost us the game against the Saints the first time. Absolutely. Absolutely, it did. Oh. Tony said Fowler literally be flying in the backfield like a chicken with his head cut off. No control. And remember the play he did earlier today when he went into the backfield and he went and we were about to put him off the field. And he swung and knocked Simeon's head off and didn't get anything. That's the closest he's gotten to the quarterback probably this year. Yeah, Fowler is not going to be missed. Let's see what we got here. Scott says, so is that where we need to focus our draft? Is the O-line? I think the O-line is, Scott, unfortunately for this team, I think there are so many places. I think the O-line is one. I'm not sure if it would be that particular pick, whether the 8th pick. If you ask me right now, I think you need to work while the offense is in their struggle. I think you need to find your edge rushers this year. I like the young guy we have out of Notre Dame. I think he has a nice little motor. I said Grady is going to be such a toss-up to see what we end up doing with him. But you got to get an edge rusher, man. You have to hit a bona fide edge rusher. They don't have to get 20 sacks a year, but I definitely need somebody with 10. I definitely need somebody that can get some attention over there on the edge. We don't have that guy. There is not a soul on the defensive line that plays edge for us that scares any team. And that's the problem. Simeon looks like a hero because he had all that room. What's Simeon's numbers today? He really didn't throw that much. 9 for 15, 71 yards. But I'm saying, but look at the time he has. Too much time, man. Too much time. Way too much. So, I don't know. Where we are. Michael says fresh and news addressing. I'm sorry, fresh and news, everything addressing the situation and hand new legs, new feet, new arms. I am totally not getting what you're saying, so I might have to come back to you there. Scott says, what I don't like is everyone blaming the offense, but our defense gives up a lot of points, and half the time we're playing from behind. Yeah, listen, basically you have a faction of folks that are pointing the fingers in all directions. When you're 7-10, you probably can point them in a lot of directions. The offense was very ineffective this year. The offense did not do a great job this year. We did not. Normally the argument would be coming off a season would be, man, Matt did good. If we only had one more weapon to give him, if we only had one more. And this year, Matt was stripped of a lot of those folks. He was stripped of his 2 primary targets. He got a young rookie that, thank God, was able to fill the spot on a lot of days. But Matt was out there battling. There's no dishonor in him going out there battling. But I think the insanity is to keep throwing him out there thinking he's going to do better. That's just my opinion. Scott says we have the 8th pick. Can we get Jordan Davis? I think we can get Jordan Davis. I'm not sure if Jordan Davis is our primary. Will Jordan Davis in the middle help the pass rush? I think he'll soak up a lot of room up there, obviously. But I'm not sure if Jordan Davis is the primary need. I think we have some guys that fill up the middle. Our run defense is not as bad. Look, folks, Alvin Kamara is pretty good. Let's not try to pretend like he's not an all-pro running back. But they haven't done a horrific job against the run this year. Not like they were last year and the year before. There are little times when you say, oh, okay, I see what y'all doing right there. But Jordan Davis, I'm not sure if he at number 8, if there is, and I gotta look at the elite edge rushers. The only ones I know right now are Hutchinson out of Michigan, and the guy his name is escaping me in Oregon. That's been playing ball, and they're saying that they're going to be pretty much top 5 talents. But really, I think you got to go for an edge rusher, y'all. That's me. That's me. That's what I say. Let me go down here. What's going on, Rick? How you doing, buddy? Good to see you in here. Was he hurt today? Was Patterson hurt today? I don't think so. It looked like he was doing okay when he was in there. I mean, I didn't see anything different. Did y'all see something different? I didn't. I don't know. Hold on. Rick says we really need to trade Debo and Matt and free up some money. Rick, I'm hoping there is some plan. And they're not going to lay it out on January 10th. Probably not even going to lay it out on February 10th. But we brought in Terry Fontenot. We brought in Arthur Smith. Let's hope they're young, creative, innovative minds are going to think of ways to improve the lot for this team. Folks, 7 wins for the talent on this team is actually pretty good. Because I'm telling you, talent-wise, out of 32 teams this year, I think it's only about 4 teams with less talent than we had. My opinion. Tell me how many teams do you think had less talent than us this year? When you look at all the positions, you only had incumbents on our team at what? Matt, Jake Matthews, Lindstrom, McGarry, Grady, Debo, Foye, AJ. Those are the only incumbents that you had on our team for the 22. Not to mention the influx of rookies that we had that really didn't get a chance to play until most of the second half of the season. Got a lot of work to do, y'all. Got a lot of work to do. A lot. Let me go down here. Okay, let me pull this down, y'all. Dre says Steve Ridley should be fired by the NFL for faking health issues. Look at Portis. Yeah, listen, the Ridley situation, I think I talked about it the other day when I was speaking. Look, it's kind of hard right now because not any of us know. I mean, you're saying fake, and it's hard. I got into a long discussion with my wife about this, and she had some very valid points when you start talking about really doubting what's really going on with people if they say that something is wrong with them. Now, if we see this whole different person and he's celebrating his leaving from Atlanta, look, you have a lot of things to draw from and draw your own conclusions. But I just don't want to get into, fake of mental health. That he said it, the young man said it. Who am I to say he didn't? He hasn't. So I'm gonna leave that alone. If I tell you something that I'm going through, I'm hoping you trust me to think I'm telling the truth. I don't know. All I know is uh, mental health issues are not. It's probably a good idea to move on from Calvin and on this team. It's just not a good idea. Let's see. I'm trying to see what that says. Gabriel, what's going on? Says there are so many places that need to be addressed, but we got to address the pass rush, and it hasn't been addressed for so long. But you know what, Gabriel? That's not true. They've attempted to address it, but it's been the wrong fits every time. But you're right. That needs to be the number one need. It's not like they didn't try. They tried to bring Fowler in here. They tried to get Vic Beasley to want to stay in football for a couple of years. They tried to get Tack McKinley in here and be a force on the other side of the field, but none of those things worked out. So when you say we haven't tried, it's not that we haven't tried. Maybe they were picking the wrong talents. I know everybody was talking about, and kept seeing all this year. Well, if we would have picked T.J. Watt instead of so, yeah, we could play Monday morning quarterback with that one too. But you just got to do better. So maybe this new regime can do better. We'll see. Got a few picks coming up. Got the 8th pick. Got an extra 2nd round pick. Probably got some stuff to work with in free agents. We got a lot of time. A lot of time, y'all. Rusty says, throw the whole organization away. I didn't see any effort out there aside of Gage and Terrell shaking my head. Like I told somebody before, when you start, the effort level, when I start saying effort, heart, I think I'm just at a point where I just think, you know what, we're just not that good. We're not. 75% of the teams we line up against, we're not as good as them at this moment, right now, this particular time. The record shows it. We're just not as good as a lot of the league. And until we can be in that conversation, we can turn it around. Why can't we be the LA Chargers and turn it around after 1 year? Or the Cincinnati Bengals and turn it around after 1 year? Or the New England Patriots got rid of Tom Brady, turning around one losing year, turning around the next year. There's nothing to say we can't do that. We just got to go out and do it and get the folks we need to do. So, yeah. Rick says Gray didn't look that good. Grady, I'm sure you mean, didn't look that good this season because he has been playing on the other side. Yeah, look, it's time to fairly evaluate every single person on this squad. It is. No ifs, ands, or buts. We got to. Plainly stated, Dub J says the offense sucks. Fair statement. Brother Odolph, how you doing, my friend? Says focus on the D-line, edge rusher, linebacker, and safety in this year's draft. I can encapsulate all that by saying focus on the defense. Yes, the defense would probably help. It's probably going to help. And I just a big believer that I think aside of edge rusher specifically, I think the two lines just have to get better, whether that's a different weight program, a strength program, or maybe a different offensive line coach coming in to coach these guys. I think there just needs to be a different philosophy coming in on this team. We're just not doing the job. We're just not. Daryl says we're too little on both lines. I can't disagree. When you're getting pushed around like we were getting pushed around today by New Orleans, you have to question it. You have to. Twan says we can find a vet to play nose tackle. Jordan Davis it's good, but he has to go to a team that needs very few pieces like the Steelers. If it was me, I'd trade back to get some more picks. My first 2 or 3 picks is dedicated to the trenches, and that's a very good point when you talk about Jordan Davis. I know being from here and the hype for Jordan Davis to play in an Atlanta uniform. People ready to put the helmet and stuff on him and all of that, and I get it. But at the same time, you just have to weigh out: is that a need right now? Him a need. Now, if he was my man from Michigan, I would probably think about that because that's a need right now. I'm not saying we don't need some two other defensive tackles. I'm not saying we don't, but gotta put some pressure. Too much time, y'all. Too much time. They're getting way too much time. Rushy says Deion Jones gotta go. He isn't even trying out there. Deion is a mystery, y'all. He's a mystery. He is definitely a mystery. Twan says if we can trade Debo and Ridley and get some more picks and then trade back and get at least 3 or 4 picks, we would be good. We would have to build this team and we have some needs. And the thing y'all got to remember too, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say you don't build through the draft, but you got to have some vets out there too. We don't have a lot of veteran help, quality veteran help on these teams right now. All the quality veterans seem like they're stacking up on teams, like they're running after Tom Brady. They're going to the Rams. They loading up on teams like New England, and most of the free agents, they all try to play together. It would be nice to be able to build a whole team through the draft and after 2 years be able to put out a good product to compete. But you got to have some veterans in there too, especially when you're talking about the offensive line. Dallas lucked up 8 years ago when I guess it'd be 7 or 8 years ago when they drafted all those guys on the offensive line. They sucked for the first year or two, and then by 2016, when Zeke got there, they put it together, and now they've had a pretty solid offensive line for most of that part. They had a couple of pieces interchange every now and then, but they've done pretty well. It would be nice to be able to do that. I'm just trying to see how long this fan base is going to go through another chapter of rebuilding, retooling. Because anytime you hear something in this organization, we're thinking, they're telling us to be patient again. And it's not that we won't be patient, but it's like you got to see glimpses of this stuff. I see glimpses of AJ. I see glimpses of Pitts. And aside of those two young guys, there's not really a whole lot else that I get excited about right now. Y'all tell me, is there anything else y'all get excited about on the team as far as the personnel? I don't. Maybe that's just me. Mo says, look for another season like this with Matt Ryan still here. And that's not a surprise. It won't be a surprise, Mo. I am right now trying to get my mindset for that. Because as much as I know we need an upgrade there, the circumstances surrounding this team might not allow that this year. So I'm getting my mindset. And I tell you what, if that's going to be the case, then you better get some real life, real doggy dog coaching on this offensive line to protect that man. Because that man will not survive another year like this with no offensive line help. He won't. And I'm definitely not going to stop criticizing him. I think he deserves to be criticized, especially when you're a 14, 15-year vet. He'll be 15 years next year. He's not. I'm sorry. The criticism is not going to stop. So until that happens, you got to keep If you're going to keep them, you better bring some folks in here to help block them. Rick says we have small receivers and 2 good tight ends, but no plays for them, and they are all pretty good. Now, I like our tight end situation. I know we're getting ready to lose Hayden Hurst to free agency. It will be interesting to see what his market is out there, because I know he got a lot of targets taken away from him with Kyle Pitts here. The small receiver thing this year, yeah, I mean, listen, we lost our number 1 receiver. This time last year, there was no one thinking Julio Jones was going to be gone. No one. I didn't hear any of y'all talking about it. So don't say you were. Nobody thought Julio would be gone. Nor did we think in the middle of the season, our new number 1 receiver would have issues. As far as I go, that's because that's all I know. I'll let y'all make the determination for yourself. But none of us knew he would have those issues. So if you would have told me that we were going to go into the last half of the season with Russell Gage at the 1, OZ at the 2, and basically Kyle Pitts kind of migrating into a number 3 unofficially, I mean, I would go out and say we have some small receivers and have a small, but that's not what the Falcons planned this year. They didn't plan to do that. I'm sure they're going to address that, whether that be through free agency or whatever. We can always get some wide receivers, folks. There's wide receivers out there. There's wide receivers you can bring in here. There will be wide receiver free agents all over the place. Just got to get them in here and get them acclimated and let them feel comfortable with Matt or whoever the quarterback will be at that time. Gabriel says they definitely have to do better at hitting home runs with these picks. Can't afford to keep missing. Yeah, Gabriel, I look, the number 4 pick, I will forever say that they should have gone in another direction, whether it be a particular individual or not. I think they should have gone in another direction with the number 4 pick. But we did get a talent in Kyle Pitts. So to your point, this year you have the number 8 pick. I'm not sure there is a quarterback that I would gamble on at number 8. I'm not sure I'm in love with Pickett. I'm not sure I'm in love with Corral that high for either one of them. But if there's somebody available in the 2nd round that we can slip down and get and bring them in, there's been nothing that Felipe Frank showed me in preseason that says, he's the heir apparent or whatever. I don't know. Maybe after another summer of working, he can get better. But I think you need to go after, whether Matt's here or not, you need to bring in the heir apparent to him. And that's got to be priority. Yeah, 2 number 2 picks. Maybe one of those number 2 picks goes to that. I don't know. But you have to think about that stuff. Unless you just bring in the most dynamic offensive line known to man. You got to. Todd says, need a new quarterback. I didn't even see your comment, but that's just what I finished talking about. We do. Got to get somebody else up in here. And this is all with the thought, folks, to get your mind right. Matt will probably, barring a team coming in here and just giving us an opportunity to free up some money and take on some of Matt's salary, get your mindset to him being here. But we do need to get the future. Absolutely. Michael says running backs and receivers and pass rushers is a must. We speed off the ball. Go getter in the secondary. Please get some more speed. Get someone from Georgia's line and Alabama's line. That's one of the, Michael, I've always heard that where people say, why does Atlanta not get anybody from the SEC, or more specifically from Georgia, which seems like they would make a lot of sense. I know we've gone out and got the Auburn guy last year, 2 years ago, Marlon Davidson. Uh, Jury is still out, be brutally honest on him. Uh, Saw flashes, but again, aside of the little Tom Brady pick six play, uh, need to see more from him. Of course, Grady came from Clemson. Uh, to your point, this is where the best ball has been played down here in the Southeastern Conference. Shoot, look at the national championship game. Neither game was close because I think the talent that's being brought up there and the way those guys are getting trained in the Eastern Conference is three steps above what's going on the next level. And why not go to your backyard and pick some of the guys? Hopefully, hopefully somebody will make some sense, I guess. Chris, what's going on, brother? Said been trying to tell folks that Ryan wasn't going anywhere next year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Chris. Barring something crazy, he's probably not. Barring something crazy, he's probably not. David says the money and quarterback class is why Smith is keeping him, has to back him. What he's gonna say, I really don't want him. But because of the money, I have no choice. And I think that's what you're talking about. You know, David, you've been hearing probably like I've been hearing, you know, when I see heavy.com or what's one of the other ones, like some of the other little fly by night websites, I see, you know, Ryan going to the Steelers, Ryan going to Cleveland, all this stuff. I'm one of those until I see reliable sources, until I see the ESPNs, the SIs, the folks who move and shake, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, people like that, Mike Garoppolo. Until I see people like that, I really don't believe it. So unless a team just comes and makes a knocks your socks off offer, I just don't see it. And let's face it, how many teams out there, just hypothetically, y'all, how many teams out there are a decent quarterback? And I think Matt, with the right situation, is a decent quarterback. By no means am I calling him elite. I'm definitely not calling him top 10 anymore. How many teams out there right now, realistically, are one decent quarterback away? You could maybe argue Indianapolis after what you saw today with the Colts, because the Colts are ready on defense and running back. Just need probably a little bit better quarterback play, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure at this point how much better Matt Ryan is than Carson Wentz. Cleveland, I'm sure, is kind of a. I think Cleveland is kind of in another situation like we are, where they're probably going to have to hold on to Baker for another year, just to ride out that contract. I don't think they're going to give him anything new the way he's kind of folded the last few games this year. I know he's saying he was playing injured, so whatever. But when you start thinking about teams that are a quarterback away, there aren't that many, and there are probably not a lot of them that's going to invest in a 30, which will be 38-year-old quarterback next year, unless their names are Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, who are playing at much higher levels right now. So that's something that, you know. RJ Coolin says, do you think Smith is the type of coach that uses players with what they're good, or does he just run his system? Well, it's kind of hard to say because last year with Tennessee, you had the best running back the last 2 years, so it made play calling easy. It made Ryan Tannehill great, made him seem great. That's a very good question. I think his system can work. I don't know, you probably just came in, RJ. I just think we're devoid of talent right now, man. And if we had some folks that could feel the talent bill for this team, I think we'd be in a better situation. We don't have a lot of talent. We don't have a lot of talent right now. Russell Gage is nice, and I give him a lot of credit. Um, Russell Gage was not meant to be the number one receiver on this team. He happens to be for the last few weeks, and so be it. We got to roll with what we got. But I give him a lot of credit. He tried his best. He probably validated that he's not a number one and quite possibly not even a number two. But at least he gave it his all out there. Got to give him a lot of credit. And he's probably earned an opportunity to probably be brought back. I'm not sure if he's a guy that people in the league are looking around and saying, oh, I got to have him on my team as a one or two. But for the Falcons in the situation that we're in, with him being a free agent this year, I think he's somebody that you might think about and say, now let me bring him in, right? Of course, for the right price. We're not trying to overpay for Russell. But being as how you're familiar with the system and it gave you a lot of shine for you this year, I would be willing to give him another year. RJ also says it's better quarterbacks in next year's class. This is a heavy defensive class. I agree with you 100%. When you talk about Stroud and Bryce coming out, not to mention, listen, I know he got pushed out in Oklahoma, but Rattler had a rough time at it there this year, and he's going to be in South Carolina. It'll be interesting to see how he rebounds this year. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in South Carolina. I think that's going to be an interesting deal for him. Rusty says, as far as the draft goes, we need so much on this team that there is no wrong answer. Honestly, we can literally draft a quarterback, offensive line, wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, D-back, and you couldn't really complain. We need to trade 2 or 3 players and stockpile picks to fill all these positions. And look, I know we say stockpile picks to RJ's point where he was talking about with the quarterback draft and things like that. You're not going to be able to build it all in 1 year. You're going to have to. We're probably going to do a lot of what we did last year. We're going to get a lot of 1-year contracts, a lot of guys that want to approve me contract to come in. We're going to do a lot of that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw 33 free agents on the team this year. We got a lot of holes to fill. All of them can't be draft picks. The worst at this moment, I think we have 8, barring some compensatory picks that we probably get. But we got to go out and find some good free agents, and probably a couple of undrafted free agents that's going to compete on this team. Still probably got to get a kicker too. Rusty says L's to the Saints sting extra. Yes, they do. Absolutely. Christopher is talking about exactly. They're trying to get clicks talking about some of those websites that start talking about rumors and things of that nature. RJ says, do you think Smith takes advantage of defense's weaknesses? It's hard to say. I know there are a couple of times this year that I've seen cornerbacks kind of go out for one play. And I used to see my man McDaniels up there in New England. Anytime somebody would get hurt on the other side, like if he sees a safety leave or he sees a cornerback hurt, he goes right for the jugular on the next play to where the new guy is. Yeah, so to your point, I really don't know. I haven't seen enough of a sample size of Arthur Smith to give a definitive statement on that, RJ, but it's a fair statement. Brother Dave, what's going on? Dave is watching us on YouTube on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Y'all, I know we're gonna have a very busy off season. Make sure y'all subscribe. I appreciate y'all doing that. Dave is one of the most loyal people on the YouTube for me, and I appreciate him. Dave said, "When is enough enough?" I don't know, Dave. I think I'm at this point. I'm a fool, Dave, because I keep coming back for the same stuff over and over again. But It was over a long time ago, my brother. Anthony, how you doing, sir? I was at the game today and wondered, is Deion Jones possibly hurt? As I watched him, he seemed to avoid tackles and try punching the ball out of runners' hands. Your thoughts? It was obvious that there was something amiss about Deion today. I don't know what it was. There was a couple of times too when you talk about trying to knock it out their hands. There was one time when he came up on, I'm trying to think, was that Kamara, and he came up on him and he should have had him dead to right, 3 yards in the backfield. And it wasn't like a full tackle. He wasn't falling. He just ran right into him and just didn't seem to wrap up. So to your point, it's Debo has been criticized fairly this year. For the money we're paying him, he is expected to be better than average. So, yeah, I don't know. There was something about him that seemed like it was a little bit off today. I will admit that. And I know a lot of people were piling on, just Deion's not having a great year. No, he's not. Not for what we're paying him. I don't know. Hopefully, we'll see if he comes out and says something. We'll see. RJ says we gotta make the right pick. Quarterback. This team needs to be plug and go for the new quarterback. I agree. Twan says if we lose Ridley, we could get those compensatory picks. Absolutely, we could. We could. Well, but in a trade, though, a trade would be different. I'm not sure. I think that's for a free agent. A free agent signing. I'm not sure if we get the compensatories for a trade. I need to find out about that to be sure, Twan, but I'm not sure. Dave says, call me whatever they want, Steve, but Matt Ryan is near cooked, man. You know you preaching to the choir as far as that's concerned. Yeah, Matt Ryan was probably done last year. Uh, Unfortunately, Thomas Dimitroff left us the worst going away present, and that's the other end of that contract extension that Matt Ryan had a few years ago. Um, and we've had to live with it. I think we're seeing what we're forced to see is a guy at one point who was really talented and had some very good moments, and we're seeing him slowly deteriorate in front of our eyes. It's not all about Matt. It's not all him, but folks, it's looking bad. It's almost like looking at Big Ben over there with Pittsburgh. And I know he got a reprieve today. He's going to probably get an opportunity, barring some wacky happening in this Charger game. But dude, Big Ben is a shell of himself. And I'm looking at Matt and I say, I don't want that to be Matt next year. Where we're sitting back and looking at Matt and saying, dude, why are we even dealing with this? Matt is a shell of what he was 8 years ago. And that's the truth. And 8 years ago, he wasn't great, but he was definitely a little bit more clutch, a little more athletic, and he could do some things. But right now, folks, it is what it is. It's not a shot. It's the truth. It's not a shot. Y'all know that. David says we're not winning next year either. This is an important draft and free agency class to establish a solid foundation and start to try to change this losing culture. It better start now. It better start now. It's got to. Dave says, Steve, I hate to say this, but I think the Falcons remain a physically soft team, and other teams know it, especially our arch rivals. Carolina, Tampa, Saints, they know that. They know they can come in here and push us around. It's something psychological, with the exception of that 16 and 17 year. And yes, I say 17. That defense was pretty solid in 17. Aside of those 2 years, teams came in here and just did whatever they want to. And that's a fair statement. Fair statement. RJ says Joe's not hurt. He just don't want to get hurt. And maybe that's it too, man. I don't know. He'll probably never tell you that. But you're probably right. Monica, how you doing? He said he knows he's not coming back. That's probably true too. That's probably true. Dave said it's so easy to blame the talent on defense, but Coach P's need to be called out to some extent. Listen, I'm not telling anybody Dave Pease is Buddy Sherman, not Buddy Sherman, Bertie Ryan, or anybody like that. But folks, in order to coach some of these guys, you got to have some talent, man. We don't have quality talent on this team. That doesn't tell you we don't love the Falcons. We don't have quality talent on this team. And Dean Pease can scheme up everything he wants, but he has said it to folks straight to their face. Until we have guys that are able to rush the quarterback, our secondary is going to suffer. Until he has guys that he can put in man situations aside of AJ, we can't do half the things he wants to do. Now, next year, after a year of evaluation, you'll be able to go out and get those guys. But right now, I mean, dude, if y'all think for 1 minute he's sitting out here saying this team is the greatest in the world and all I got to do is coach him, no, he's saying, I need help. And I'm pretty sure when they have the end of year evaluations up there at Flowery Branch, I'm sure Dean Pease is going to be the first one to say, fellas, what y'all going to do to help me out? Let me give y'all a list of 5 edge rushers coming out of college that I think I can do something with. Let me give y'all a list of free agents of cornerback, and I think it should be a free agent at cornerback that y'all can put on the other side of AJ so we can legitimately put some guys in man and bring that safety down in the box a little bit so we don't get these guys running free in the middle. Dean Pease wants to do a lot of stuff, folks, but he can't do it with the lack of talent. Dave says compensatory picks are for free. I thought that's what it was. Yeah, and at this point, Ridley is a trade, would only be able to get out of here trade-wise. I don't think they would cut him. I think it would be a trade. Get back up here. Who is this? Is that Rusty? Rusty says Deion Jones has been smacking at the ball and whipping in games the last 3 years. Go back and watch the tape. I'm telling you, Steve, I really think a lot of these guys were DQ guys in their feeling that in their feelings that DQ ain't here. Remember how strong that brotherhood was in 15 to 16. I know DQ was loved by his players. That's a good, there's validity in that and stuff. But listen, this NFL too long. This is a business, man. And you heard that was possibly one of the reasons why Julio didn't want to stick around because, DQ was gone. And, you probably think DQ was more of a player's coach and stuff. But look, these guys got to realize NFL is a business. You can sit there and pout and mope if you want to when your coach leaves or your favorite position coaches leave and stuff like that. But you're still getting paid. And you're still being compensated well. You got to go out there and do your job. The Deion thing, I don't know about specifically whether he's a couple of years ago, he actually had a pretty good season. That was the 2019. He actually wasn't that bad that year. But yeah, I can see what you're saying about that, but I just don't buy that. I think you got to play whoever the coach is. You got to go out there and play ball. Can't sit out there and get mad because somebody you like is gone. If that's the case, you talk to your agent and say, I want to trade. You don't sit there and not give effort. And I still am on the fence about Deion's effort. Where I think there were a couple of times that he looked like he wasn't fully going at it, but he's out there. And I see him running to the ball fast. He makes a mistake. Same thing with Fowler. I think Fowler is a guy. He tries hard, just doesn't have any discipline right now. Doesn't have any discipline to get that quarterback. It's not like he's not getting back there. It's a couple of times he gets back there, but he just not ended up hitting the guy. I just have sometimes I have a hard time, uh, heart, effort, fight. It's hard to weigh. I know when I see somebody's quit, and I don't think Dion is quit. And as long as I don't see anybody quit, I don't know. Those guys might be hurting too. You're at game 17 of the year. You know you're not playing for anything. Sometimes all that stuff hits you at one time. He might just be tired. And it's no excuse. Everybody else has to play at the end of the year, but dude just might be tired and hurt. I don't know. I'm not making excuses. I'm just trying to give scenarios where I think possibly it could be. Jermaine says better record this year, but mediocre performance. I would almost argue, Jermaine, that there were some times last year where we actually played a lot better, but just didn't come through. You think about, of course, the foolish losses to Dallas, Chicago, Detroit, the Chargers. You think about those games that we were really on the cusp of winning. The first Carolina game last year. 4-12 is 4-12, so there's no way to candy coat that we didn't play well. But yeah, I think there are a lot of things in this 7-10 season that you can say probably were worse. But also remember too, this team flipped a lot last year. Got rid of a lot of veterans. We got rid of some very key talent on this team. We had very key talent that kind of checked out this year for whatever reasons. So it wasn't like the team that we started, the team that we thought was going to go into camp July ended up being the team that we ended up with at 7:30 today when the game ended. A lot of changes, a lot of different personnel in there. That happens to every team. I mean, everybody has injuries and things that happen and stuff like that. But yeah, but there is something to say about, better record, but not sure whether that was a better team than last year. Yeah. Dave says, at the very least, Matt could become a competent game manager, but with game managing quarterbacks, the team has to have some serious talent around them. And that's a good point, Dave. This is not a team where you have a solid defense. Now, blasphemous for me to say, Matt Ryan could go to New Orleans and probably light it up. Alvin Kamara as a running back. If Michael Thomas wants to come back next year, solid defense. Matt Ryan could mess around and go to New Orleans and light it up. For real, for real. Think about that. So from a game manager standpoint, those are the teams that he would fit. Right now, we're not that team. That's why you probably wouldn't see free agents wanting to come here. You're going to probably have to build with somebody from scratch, which will probably be a real quarterback in 2023. Jermaine says, when was the last time a quarterback got a one-handed pick caught on him? I've seen a couple of people do some one-handed interceptions this year. That was a good pick by old boy from New Orleans. Though that was a good pick. But no, I've seen plenty of one-handed interceptions this year. But that was a very good one. David says he's been known for throwing for 4,000 yards. He didn't even do that this year. He's just about done. I mentioned that earlier today, David, because one of the things people always bring up about his stats is, oh, he's the only quarterback in history to throw for. So we don't have to hear that anymore because that streak ended today. All that means is he stayed healthy, y'all. 3,900 yards. Now it's gonna be like he's the only one that throw. He's the only one that's thrown for 3,900 yards 11 straight years. Watch is coming. Gregory said, was talking to my mom and she says he's not washed out. I've seen a washed up quarterback. My response. So you want to see Matt Ryan get to that point. It's past time to start shopping for a replacement. Dude is underthrowing passes every week. And Gregory, and I'm not Lord knows I would never try to speak ill of your mother's opinion. I'm not speaking ill of her, but the opinion you have, she sounds like somebody like a lot of folks here that still have those loyal ties to Matt because of what he's done previous. Matt Ryan is the winningest quarterback in franchise history. Matt Ryan is the only MVP ever from this organization. Matt Ryan was a hair's throw away from winning the championship for this organization. Matt Ryan is the only quarterback to lead this team to 5 straight winning seasons. When you start attaching your lot to all of those things that were happening positively for you, you start, getting this type of connection. And I think there are some folks who think that somehow miraculously Matt is gonna turn around and throw some pixie dust on himself and be that 2016 guy again. But it's not gonna happen. And until we all get over that reality, that's gonna be what you see, especially in groups like ours, in Atlanta Bird Gang, and other fan groups that you see on Facebook and Instagram and all the other good stuff you see. We grow an attachment to the good times. We grow an attachment to what was once good, and don't realize that now that's not as good as it was before. And sometimes you have to kind of take a leap of faith and go with something new, especially when you start talking about sports and athletic. I'm pretty sure New England was like, oh my goodness, Tom Brady, no. And 1 year later, they're back in the playoffs. Baltimore, Joe Flacco, he led us to the Super Bowl. No. And now, aside of this year, Lamar Jackson has them back at that level. Yeah, so at some point you have to be willing to move on, and I think that's where we are at this organization. So you're absolutely right in my opinion. Dave says people mocked Julio for catching his first touchdown of the season. The shame is he tied picks. Right? Exactly. Yeah, I saw that. Similar scene was very similar. Remember a couple of years ago when Julio put up like 1,200 yards and hadn't had a touchdown until week 10, and against Washington, he scored the touchdown and they celebrated like they won the Super Bowl. It kind of reminded me of something similar to that. What's going on, Cam? How you doing, my friend? Good to see you in the house, brother. Just going over this ugly loss to our hated rivals, New Orleans Saints. Twan says people expect Pease to come in here and just turn it around with BS talent. It's not happening. This man has 2 Super Bowls. I'll take his word over what any fan says. And yeah, and listen, do I scratch my head when I say to myself, why did Dean Pease put us in this position, this particular scheme, and I see this guy running free? He's addressed it several times. Until he gets an upgrade of talent at these certain positions, it's only so much he can do. And I truly believe that. I think if he had some more guys in position, I think he'd do a much better job. RJ says we need to take 2 pass rushers and a cornerback in the draft. Monica says, right, we only sign people to fill positions. I mean, think about what we did this year, Monica. We signed basically a cornerback for 1 year, a free safety for 1 year, a linebacker who got accused of some stuff this year, Mingo, and then we had to go out and get Brandon Copeland. So we've signed all these folks to start on 1 year contracts. Patterson wasn't probably even expected to start this year. Turned out to be a starter on 1 year contracts. Mike Davis is on a 2 year contract. So you didn't even have folks that you could go out there and afford to sign to 2 to 3 year contracts because we don't have any money. So yeah, we're just signing people to fill positions. And guess what? Gonna be a lot more of that in 2022. Dave says, with all honesty, Pease sold some of these young guys down the river to save his own skin at times. But I won't belabor the point. I think his scheme is outdated. Dave, and I say it again, I'm not trying to sell the guy to you as the greatest mind in defensive history. But I also say to myself, yeah, it's not like he's working with grade A talent, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Octavius, what's going on, man? Good to see you coming in here, brother. Jermaine says, I purposely fell asleep during the game and probably would have fell asleep if I was actually there. Oh, man. If I was telling the truth, my son and I were watching the game, and then once it got to 24-6, we kept flipping back and forth to the red zone because we were watching the other playoff scenarios and stuff like that all come through and things. So that was very, very interesting to see all that stuff come to fruition. RJ says trade Grady. He's too small for a 3-4. Yeah, I'm not sure if Grady was ever meant to play in a 3-4 system as well. Yeah, you gotta have. And if you remember, RJ, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, like the last real 3-4 guy we had in our system was big giant Grady Jackson, and that's the last time we had a legitimate 3-4 defense. You gotta have a Jordan Davis size guy. Halede Natu, the guy from the Ravens, Vita Vea, who they just extended in Tampa Bay, and Ndamukong Suh. You have to have a space filler to have a guy in the 3-4, and Grady is not that guy. Grady is a big guy who can move, but you need a space filler in a 3-4. So that's my thought. Jeffrey, how you doing, sir? Say, Uncle Steve, what do you think about drafting Anderson or Dean at linebacker if available at 8? Dean, that would be a little high for me, and I say this with all the utmost respect because I think Dean is going to be a nice linebacker when he gets in. I'm still in love with measurables, and I think his heart, he plays above his size. So that's the only thing, the pause I have with him. Oh, Anderson, I'd pick him up in a heartbeat. I think Anderson is somebody that you really think about at the number 8 position. I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on him at all. Love Dean. Hope he balls out tomorrow and does what they need to do to Alabama. because Nakobe, he's the real deal. Butkus winner, defensive player of the year. You don't get all of that if you don't have talent. I just think there are some undersized linebackers in the NFL, but there are few that. Let's put it this way: if he was in the second round, if he failed, I'd take him in a heartbeat. I don't think he's going to get out of the second round. But Will Anderson to me is somebody that I think, yeah, that could be somebody potentially that would be great. I don't think he's going to get to us, but we'll see. We'll see. The DB Williams was everywhere. Yeah, Williams is a pretty good cat. He's been hanging around there for a while. Jermaine says, I think the bottom line is we need a full culture change. Let Matt Ryan go. Keep Cordero, drop Mike Davis, pick up a couple of wide receivers, fix the defense. That's a lot of stuff. Go one at a time. Let Matt Ryan go. Again, not sure if that's going to be able to be done, but I wouldn't disagree with it. If you did, you just better have a solution, a decent solution. And I'm not talking about Josh Rosen. Keep Cordero. Cordero's going to cost money. Now, if Cordero wants to give us a friendly deal, fine. Drop Mike Davis. I have zero problem with that. I think it was a stretch to think that he would come in here and actually be more than what he has been. And a couple of wide receivers and fix the defense. So wide receiver, we definitely need to address that, probably through free agency. I think you can always, again, I talked about earlier, find some decent wide receiver talent to come in here. But just, again, the wide receiver situation was fluid because we didn't know we would be in this situation with our wide receivers. Twan says, let's talk about this defense. If we want to sign Foye, then it's clear Debo has got to get traded. We can't pay two linebackers $8 or $9 million a year. Somebody has to go. We have Grady, AJ, and Foye on defense. It's clear AJ needs his Robin on the other side, and we also thought Davison was going to come in and help Grady. But I'm sorry, right now I don't see Davison being here. He doesn't fit our scheme. Everything that you said is pretty true. I almost wish I could disagree with you, Twan, about the $8 to $9 million, because you know what? Other teams do it, but we threw all of our eggs into Matt and Julio at the age that they did. They threw all that money into them on their past prime. And I think that's the part where we're killing ourselves. Because had we not put all of that money into Matt or Julio, we would easily be able to sign Foye and still have him and Dion in the mix. But everything else you said, I absolutely agree. It makes a lot of sense what you're saying from that standpoint. Rusty says, you think they want to draft the next quarterback or wait until 2024 when we are supposed to have over $150 million in cap availability and get an elite quarterback in free agents? 2004 cap finna be nice. At least you hope so, because look, again, I don't think it's out of the ordinary. I know we've been talking a lot about Dion like he's automatically gone. They might end up doing some restructuring with Dion's contract. It's not as backloaded heavy as Matt's, and they might be able to move some of that down the road. And also Grady, don't forget, Grady might be looking at an extension as well if they don't trade him. So 2024, I'm not sure if this fan base is going to go for waiting until 2024. Again, if you're able to find someone in the second round or third round, Dak was found in a lower round. Russell Wilson was found in the lower round. You can find some of these quarterbacks in some lower rounds. You just got to go out and do your scouting and do your homework. Every single starting quarterback in the league this year was not a top 5, top 10 quarterback pick. Everybody wasn't. So for right now, you go out and try to get the best quarterback you can after the first round. One of the reasons I wouldn't want to get a first round quarterback either. Is the money will look different with a quarterback. You have somebody you get in the second round and below, you don't have that guaranteed money that you would be stuck with, and that fifth year option detail that you have at the end of the first round picks. I think you go out and see if you can find somebody in the second round or third round, possibly, that could fill the bill or at least compete with Matt on the team. That's what I think. Down here a little bit. Gregor says, Arthur Blank is notorious for holding on to people way too damn long. It's frustrating. I think that might change a little bit with the new regime. I think he kind of let Dimitrov. Listen, Arthur Blank was guilty. Because let's put it in perspective, y'all. When Arthur Blank hired Thomas Dimitrov in 2008, we had 5 straight winning seasons up until 2012. Then he had the 2 down years in 13 and 14 until he hired Dan Quinn and Kyle Shanahan in 2015, where we had the 8-8 year, then of course the Super Bowl year in 16, and then the playoff year in 17, which some say we probably should have gone further. So you're talking about in a span of 10 years, you had 7 winning seasons. 7 winning seasons out of 10 years, and you had 6 playoff seasons in those years. Arthur Blank was probably at that time saying, Thomas, whatever you say goes. Because at that time, his track record was pretty legit. Now, fast forward to 2018, in the summer of 2018, when we did all of the Matt Ryan re-up and Julio wants some extra money, stuff him with $2 million this year, negotiate next year for the highest wide receiver contract in the world. So from Arthur Blank's standpoint, he was saying, hey, everything else you had done up to that point was pretty decent. So why not trust you? And I think it just happens that, yeah, we got a little too caught up in the loyalty game. And that's, that's unfortunate. Norman, what's going on? So, Steve, tell me, what do you think the players are thinking on defense when they hear their defense coordinator say they're not talented enough for his defense? They look in the mirror and say, I need to work on my game. Who on the defense is going to sit there and argue with them, Norman? I'm not trying to be funny. You're playing professional football, and at the same time, Norman, you're giving up. The points we're giving up to Tampa Bay this year, the points we're giving up to Dallas this year, the easy way Buffalo was able to run us down in their game. I mean, if that's what a experienced Super Bowl coordinating winning coach is saying to me, I start thinking about him and say, you know what? I'm gonna prove him wrong. That's what I say. What are you gonna do? Get mad and say I quit? And then go to the next team and they tell you, listen, there are not that many people on this team right now that a lot of other teams want. How many other, aside of Dan Quinn on the Dallas team, how many of these guys were truly sought after when last season was over with? The guys went to Dan Quinn, the Kazees, the Neals, those guys went over to Dan Quinn's situation because of familiarity. He was going to a team, he was introducing the scheme, and those guys knew how to run it. So, of course, they knew they would thrive in that defense. Then I saw Ito Smith score a touchdown yesterday. I was like, geez. Ito getting some love from the Dan Quinn train. So, Norman, at some point, yeah, you got to move your ego aside and see if I really am that good. Dave says, if you're referring to me regarding Dean Pease, the guys had great players across the board in New England and Baltimore. By the time he gets those players, he'll be 8 freaking years old. Nah, Dave, I'm just saying All I'm saying, Dave, with him, I think there's listen at his age. I don't think you're going to get coaches like him, or coaches that are probably. I mean, they pulled him out of retirement. Guys like that are probably not going to mince words with you. They're not trying to be your friend. They're trying to get the job done. He was brought in here to do a job. He was brought in here to turn this defense around. And I'm pretty sure he came in and said, listen, if you want me to turn this defense around, we're going to have to shop at Walmart. We can't go to Dollar Tree. We got to get some guys here who have talent and probably are higher compensated guys. And I'm sure they'll tell him, well, Dean, this is all we can afford. And he says, okay, if this is all we can afford, this is how I'm going to have to do it. There's nothing to get ego struck about. That's the truth. Jermaine says watching the game strictly on Red Zone was good enough for me to fall asleep. Oh, man. This is Devontae. Devontae says, I'm starting to believe some people is a Falcon fan because they thought we was going to win it all in 2016. And since we did, they just stuck on that. And I believe that too. We talk about it a lot here where anytime we see sprinkles of good on this team is a reference back to 2016. Every time we see somebody like a Cordero Patterson, oh, he could be the Gabriel from 2016 as a comparison because that was your best year. That was your just missed it year. And again, we all want to live back in the good time. I don't blame you. I would too. But yeah, we got to get out of that. We got to get out of that and move on. Hopefully. Twan says Will Anderson is a sophomore. I think he won't be draft eligible until next year, but yes, I would love to have him. Okay, well then if he's a sophomore, then we'll wait for him for 2023, and hopefully we won't be able to get him because we improved that much. I did not know he was a sophomore. David says I would be upset if Kyle Hamilton, Notre Dame fell to us at number 8, good in coverage in the thumper. I saw Hamilton too. Yeah, he would not be that bad either. I kept thinking this is Jermaine. I kept thinking that we should try to get Huntley from the Ravens and install some of the Lamar Jackson offense in Arthur Smith's playbook and take him from there, or at least land smoothly. I'll tell you what, the Huntley I've seen the last couple of weeks, y'all. I don't know. I think he filled in admirably doing a couple of times, but yeah, if it's that guy I saw today, and I know it was raining today, and I know he made some very questionable decisions in a game that you were trying to win to get to the playoffs. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen just parts of him. I don't know. I'm not feeling Huntley. I'm not feeling him. I think he's nice, but nice backup. But I'm at a point where I'm looking for my future starter. I'm looking for the guy that's going to take me to the next level. In my opinion, that's what I think. Twan says, see the people that's criticizing Pease are used to having Quinn's and Mike Smiths. As I said before, Pease is legit, and we've seen what he can do when he has the pieces to fit where he wants. His scheme isn't outdated. We just don't have the players to fit what he does, and I think that's the case too. I think we don't. I think we don't have the players to fit. And that's the only point I've been trying to make. It's not a point of trying to say Dean Pease is all of that or Arthur Smith's play calling that is all of that. I think in order to run the system that you have to run, you have to have players. I think when Kyle Shanahan got to Atlanta in 2015, I think he spotted some things. He saw Julio Jones and said, oh, I could work with that. He saw Devontae and Tevin and said, I can work with that. He saw Roddy White and said, I don't know if I need your skill set in here. I can go get that with a Mohamed Sanu or a Taylor Gabriel. And once he had the talent in place that he needed, boy, oh boy, you see what he did. Probably what is eighth most points in NFL history or whatever it was. So the same thing for Dean Pease. If you have the talent to coach on the offense and defense, it makes it much better. I'm sorry, y'all. Tell me the talent that you have on defense. Sans AJ, sans Grady. Tell me the talent. And don't tell me Richie Grant yet. Don't tell me Jalen Hawkins and Michael Walker yet. Because those guys are young and they play young. Right now, we are devoid of talent, and no coach is going to be able to work with talent. Arthur Smith on offense. Coming into this job, Arthur Smith is almost as shocked as Bobby Petrino was the year that he got the job, and then, no Mike Vick. Arthur Smith got this job saying, oh my goodness, Julio Jones. Woo, Calvin Ridley. All I need is a running back, and boy, I'm going to set this thing off. And then got into the year, what, Julio done won what? He don't want to play. Third or fourth game, Calvin Ridley, what, huh? What? And then you're left with, again, no disrespect to Russell Gage, OZ, at your number one and number two wide receivers. Come on now. Mike Davis, your top flight running back. Sometimes we gotta, just think about that for a little bit when we start talking about the coaching aspect of it. Now, if you want to start criticizing coaches, criticize Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians got a star basically at every position. When they screw up, I'll criticize him because you got too much talent on that team. The Rams ain't having the business losing that game today. Too much talent on that team. You got talent at every position. So that's when I start going in deeper on some of the talent on the team. But the coaches, you gotta be careful. Jermaine says Baker Mayfield may be shopping around. Yeah, Baker Mayfield, he might need to keep shopping. I'm not sure if I want Baker either. Baker might be, I don't know. I don't know. Brother Ray, what's going on, man? Say I'm at work and missed most of your podcast. Ray, please, when you get a chance to replay it, brother. I hope everything's going well with you and Happy New Year. Yeah, man. Just going over this loss, man. New Orleans, more talking about the Falcons' future than we're talking about everything else. We're going to have a wrap up and a show tomorrow during probably about 6 or 7 o'clock hour where we'll go over the season in review and go through some grades, but basically just talking about what the team does in the future. So make sure you hang around with us, brother. We'll catch you in. I hope everything is going well. Jermaine says it took Julio until the day to get his first TD. Yeah, I saw that, miss. Jeffrey Watts says, y'all right. Will Anderson graduated from high school in 2020. He will be eligible in 2023. Dang, yeah. Hey, Jeffrey, it's a good thought, though, brother. Good thought. Twan said, yeah, even Quinn had to go out there and get his guys to fit his defense. This is Smith's first year, and Dean, people have to relax and let these guys get their guys in. But again, go down the road. After we finish tonight, I want y'all to honestly go to the Falcons website, go look down the list and show me. Look down the list and see the roster. And when y'all go down there and see the roster, show me where all this talent to fit these great schemes are. You're not going to find them. You're not. You're not gonna find them, and that's the truth. That is the absolute truth, without a doubt. So right before I break out, I wanted to pull up on the screen, show y'all the playoffs scenarios that we have coming in uh, real quick. So in the AFC, let me bring this out just a little bit because I know if y'all are blind like me, I want y'all to be able to see it. All right, so in the AFC right now, they're playing the last game. The Chargers and the Raiders are playing. And remember, if that game ends up being a tie, both of the teams going in right now, it is 14-10. Uh, the Chargers are leading at this time. Weird scenario where if the teams end up saying, "Hey, let's tie this game and go," we'll both go in, and that's what they're fighting for right now. Those last playoff spots. Who, if someone wins this game, the winning team will get in, and the losing team will be out, and then Pittsburgh will be the other playoff team. Tennessee will have the bye this year. They have a bye. They beat Kansas City earlier this year, so they're 12-5. Kansas City and Buffalo are going to wait to see who they have to play. The only game in the AFC right now that is absolutely set, I think, is the uh, Cincinnati and New England, the 4 and 5 seeds. So those two teams will play each other in the AFC. In the NFC, we go over here. Green Bay is the number 1 seed, 13-4. They beat Tampa Bay this year. That's why they could afford to lose to Detroit in this game. Tampa Bay ends up the number 2 seed. The overrated Cowboys at number 3. And the Rams, despite losing the game to the 49ers this evening, they end up winning the NFC West. The NFC West ends up with 3 out of the 4 teams in the division. A lot of people thought that was going to be the case this year. Anyway, a lot of people might have thought Seattle would have been there instead of Frisco. But Rams, Cardinals, 49ers all in, and the Philadelphia Eagles at number 7. Saints, of course, eliminated by that San Francisco win today. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will play the Philadelphia Eagles. The Dallas Cowboys will play the San Francisco 49ers. And the Los Angeles Rams will, right off the rip, get a chance to play the Arizona Cardinals in the first round. Green Bay, again, in Tennessee with the bye this week on the playoffs this week. Chadwick, what's going on? Chadwick says, I give these coaches a B, a solid year, and a new system. Like I said, Chadwick, we were talking right before you came on. I don't these coaches deserve a little bit of love. I think they did a decent job this year. So again, we're going to wrap this stuff up tonight, and tomorrow we'll give a little bit more of a season in review. Falcons, 4th year in a row, will not make the playoffs. Losing record again, albeit an improvement of 3 games over 2020. 2021 season is at 7-10. Until then, y'all have a great night. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Make sure you check us out on Uncle Steve's Lounge. Please go subscribe and get a chance to check it out. You can see the past broadcasts and be able to comment on those as well. Until then, everybody have a great night. Have a great beginning of the week. Y'all take care of yourselves. Peace.